Yes, thank you. I have only been here a short period of time since this weekend, as a matter of fact, and
Okay.
already I've experienced quite a bit of liberation from what you've had to say, liberation from guilt trips about past practices. But so I see where, for me, it's very important to go into the this the sensations, the thoughts, the whole mess, the whole cloud of I guess it's samskaras. So it's good. I find that to land in uh, the body, the mind, the thoughts, and so there's an experiencing of that, a watching of that, and from there the I don't know what it is. I'm not saying it's the self or a glimpse of the self or just a deeper glimpse of the I. But that kind of comes on its own. And then from uh, the webinar the other day, it was very came clear. It was a webinar, maybe it was the preparation for the webinar
Mm.
to, there's not much you can do to change
Right.
that. Right.
Right.
And that's the best I can do in this moment. Um, but there seems to be, so I can rest in that outerness, whatever it is, for a period of time, or I can stay, as some of the teachings from the books that people have, talks with Ramana talks about
Yeah.
staying on that I. Um,
Right.
Seems to be driving me. In fact, I get sometimes a strong experience of the I that knocks me right back out. It won't let me go there, or I won't let me go there. And so, how to how to uh, how to be with that?
Yeah.
How do?
I
Yeah.
get your point. I get your point, Edward. But the one thing that you said you have come from backgrounds of carry forward. Sorry, I missed out the first sentences that you started with. You said I'm coming from paths, something related to that. What was that?
Well, I started with my own self-taught meditation back in the mid to late '90s, and then continued that very kind of sloppy. Uh, Actually started TM in '75, but that was very
Okay.
uncommitted. Um, but then I went to Vajrayana and for,
Buddhism.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
And that's kind of where a lot of constriction, so many
Yes.
rules, and
Yes.
felt that I went there because I was told that this Lama that I had met, that I loved, would teach me to meditate. And really, it
Okay.
just became more and more mantra
Yeah. Right.
and deity practices and empowerments. And I just, about a year ago, I started with just the Atma Vichara. And
Right.
yeah,
I get that. I get that. So I think the ripeness in this lifetime brings us very close to this. Of course, all these other paths that you mentioned that you went there, starting with transcendental meditations, Mahesh yogis, right? With
yes,
them or with even Buddhism, these are just a part of our detours, whatever has been left behind from our past impressions that we carry. So we just fulfill them. All these little paths here and there that we go, it's just a fulfillment of those desires that were pending in our chitta or in our psyche. So once that is over, see, you come to the point, and that's where you are right now. That point of Atma Vichar, what you're talking about, and that earnestness to understand the I am, to stay in there. But at the same time, you're realizing from the preparatory that we did that there is nothing much to do here. So that cannot be taken as a disappointment. In fact, it is pure grace when you know there is nothing else to do, because timely things are just opening step by step process. So when we say there is nothing else to do, nothing to worry, nothing for me to strive forward, to look forward or put an effort, it simply means to be contained in what I am doing in the now, because I am being led exactly to that precise thing that I want, moment to moment. So that is what we are right now experiencing. So if you just settle down with this understanding that I need to take care of what I need to take care right now, you will see eventually moment to moment will take you, will liberate you from all these other kind of thoughts of even wanting something. See, here in this path, it is all about realizing there is nothing to even want. That you said sometimes I get that glimpse. You know, so that glimpse also is coming as a moment to moment experience. It's something that's unwinding into you. If you look, these were not there in the past months or weeks or years. It's happening spontaneously. So there shouldn't be any doubt that spontaneously it will not be revealed in the coming days also, provided what is in the moment we take it. Like right now we are discussing these things, so this needs our attention. That is why we are led to this kind of a talk or discussion or whatever webinars you're doing. Whatever you are doing, you are just being led by that grace, if you see that very carefully. So you will be led, perhaps here or even somewhere else. That doesn't matter if you just be in the moment and understand what needs to be done. So many pointers are there in even today's satsangs or in the webinars, many pointers as what needs to be done. So precisely if we just be make ourselves present and just pay attention to what needs to be done today. Like in Buddhism, say they say for the now, for today. For today I will be loving. For today I will be. They are in the moment, they are relishing in the moment everything. So if we take our mind into this, I'm sure it will be a liberating experience, because that headache of what lies in the future, or that feeling that I am not there yet, that is the problem. Because the more you think in the future tense, you are conforming to your subconscious that I am not there yet, and that keeps manifesting. That's a deep subconscious programming that will simply manifest that I'm not there yet. So if I just let go of what is there for tomorrow, or even how this thing looks like experiencing the I, actually, there is no experiencing the I because I am that I. Because when I say experiencing the I, that I is some other component and I am in the objective, I am in the ego part trying to experiencing myself. But Ramana says you are not the other, you are the self itself already experiencing it, but you are not aware of what you are experiencing because you have gone to that identity, and that identity wants to jump into the self. So these are small small things. If we just take care of small small things, it will make us rooted into the I amness. Especially this perspective of there is nothing that I have to realize, I'm already the self. I have to realize or be aware and conscious of why am I not in myself right now, because I am holding to some identity. So I gently give up that identity and shift into that presence. The whole idea is to shift into this awareness, keep shifting into the presence. That
Mm,
presence I am.
mm.
I am not a meditator. I am not a seeker trying to find my presence. I am the presence behaving like a seeker right now. One small perspective, one small shift from the objective to realizing from the looking at things from the subjective. How am I ending up in this identity? I need to give up this identity so that I come to my presence. This one approach will help you a great deal.
Thank you.
Thank you. I hope these kind of interactions helps everybody somewhere or the other. When we ask questions, this is how it helps everybody. So I think today Vishavji asked, and Rajesh also asked, and Edward, all of them asked some questions. Rajesh also said, how can we increase Anugrah Shakti in our daily life? Anugrah Shakti can be increased by simply removing the obstacles again, becoming aware of our ignorances. That's all. You remove ignorances, automatically grace will expand from within. What is not expanding the grace is our ignorances. Like the self itself is grace, the self itself is wisdom. The self is contained with the self wisdom, Brahmagyan, everything is there. I am that. But why am I not realizing the wisdom? Why am I not realizing my grace, which is infinite? Because of my identity. I've pushed and moved ahead into ignorance. So, what I'm saying is become aware of the ignorances and dissolve it one by one. You will, like a rubber band, come back to the presence where you will start experiencing grace. So, every time you give up an ignorance, you are having a burst of grace from within. So, all what we talk about grace, Shaktipat, or some trembling, some energy running, all these experiences that we talk about, what are these? If you look at that moment, if you are aware, if you become conscious, you will see that you have released something at that moment. When something drops from you, there is an explosion. Something profound drops from you, there is an explosion. So sometimes a guru might be talking something, a teaching might be there. You might look at it and have an experience. Something, some clarity comes. You might have shudder. You might have a thrill, chill down your spine just by listening to something. What has happened? That listening has given you clarity and something has dropped from you. Grace, Shaktipat happens. So, Shaktipat, you need not, or grace, you need not connect to something outward to get. Usually, people run to connect to something outside to get grace, connect to saints, connect to hills. Again, I'm telling you, you connect to a saint also. When you look at the saint, something happens within you. Grace is generated within, not from the saint. That saint is only a trigger. The hill is a trigger. The path is just a trigger. But what happens is within you. The external light allows or diminishes some ignorance, removes some ignorance in you, and that is when you experience grace. So, hope that that also clears. When the ego sows the seed of habits and old thought patterns, work is to be done on the ego or the seeds of or the awareness that works on them all the time. See, that's what I'm telling. When ego is sowing the seeds of habits, why it is sowing the seeds of habits? Because that habit makes the ego feel that it will get completion, it will get satisfaction, contentment there. That is why it is habituated, it is repeating. Anything that is you repeat in ignorance, thinking it is going to give you, is called habit. Simple. So the ego or the ignorance is generating the idea that you catch that you will get satisfaction. That becomes a habit. So it is the identity again. Killing the desires is not going to work. Old patterns also is not going to work. You have to deeply become aware of how this identity is identifying with that object. The false identity, that is the false feeling where from where it is getting, or the awareness that works on them all the time. If you are able to just work on awareness, that is the most excellent because you have gone straight to the source. So you have asked in three level this question, Jitesh. Three levels. One is you have asked from the light itself. Second, you have asked the light that falls on the identity. Third, you have asked after the light creates this identity, the desires that sprout from the identity, which you call as habit pattern. Three level. One third level is working from the pattern, which is very difficult. Most of the paths work on that, killing desires and removing it, or working, hitting on the pattern, healing the pattern, and things like that. Second level, one step back, if you can take, and understand the ego is the problem, the identity, the ignorance is the problem, and dissolve it, great. But the third level that you said, if you can just stay aware, that is what you said here, or the awareness that works on them all the time, working on the awareness, that is the most profound one. Because if you come to the presence that is illuminating the identity and illuminating the seeds, which is the further cause of the ignorance, you are at the root source itself. And that source only is I amness. Are you getting it? So when you say working on the awareness, you're talking about I amness. I amness is the most powerful state that you can. But you have to repeatedly come there. And at the same time, I would advise be little kind to yourself by working on the other levels also. Because if you try to bring yourself to I amness and all this ego identity is pulling you, patterns are pulling you, it is going to be very difficult. So simultaneously, you do whatever you can with the patterns, habits on that level, and also on the ignorance level, on the identity level, dissolving the identity, and at the same time, the I am practice. You'll be able to help yourself at all these levels. It will be easier. Like Carl Jung used to talk about psychology, deep psychology. Every pattern, every desire, every vibration that comes in us has a root cause. Listen carefully. It will go straight to the source only of what you have asked. Nice question. Now, what does he talk about is the rise of a vasana or a desire to be loved or a desire for lust, sexual satisfaction, gratification. That's a pattern that's coming. That's on the third level, what we're talking. Now, when that comes, usually people just fulfill it, gratify it, or they try to curb it. Some teachings will tell, no, 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 that pattern is not good. Papa, punya, this is good, this is bad. Okay, they will try to control it or they'll try to experience it. Both are not going to give results. I am not talking about whether they are good or bad, papa, punya. I never talk about it also, whether it is good or bad, because nothing is good and bad. It's simply energies working out itself. It is the science of desire and desire fulfillment. Bhoga it is. So if Boga is enjoyable and you want to go into it and completely stay in the loop and be happy with it, that's upon you. But if one says, no, I don't find any solution in that, then mind starts thinking deeply. So that pattern which rises, understanding why the pattern is rising, what is it asking for? Usually, the desire to feel loved, the chase for people outside, completion outside, or the chase to gratify it with an object or self gratification, whatever. In both these, you can see again the deep urge is to gratify and feel happy, peace, content, but the object is not giving. So, if one sits and investigates very clearly, it will be very clearly known that these are psychological compulsions rising from inside which has been not fulfilled in the past, mostly due to during childhood. Most of these problems, most of the running outside comes from inner child, guaranteed. Most of it, 80% you can say differently. Not even 80, 100 you can say, because from that childhood wound only, what has not been fulfilled, the teenager undergoes the problem and it builds up. Because the inner wound is not yet addressed, you have a wounded teen now. The wounded teen creates a wounded adult. Wounded adult goes on further. But the source is there. So if one is able to identify inner child में चले गए अभी हम लोग, go deep and sit instead of just acting out of compulsion or just blindly chasing something without trying to understand. That is mithya, right? So awareness seekers will sit and see what is it that is making them try to go outside and feel complete. It is necessarily the incompleteness within me. There is something incomplete within me. So it is trying to go out and complete myself. What I'm trying to do is I'm only trying to complete myself. Whatever I grab in this world is only to complete myself, to become Purna. The male, female, masculine, feminine, what we are talking, we both have that. Male and female both have it. There is a masculine, there is a feminine. Some people have more of masculinity, some have more of femininity, not irrespective of genders. Female can have more masculinity, and a male can have more femininity. Femininity is chanchalta, too much of desire outward and running movements. And masculinity is nischalta, stillness, peace, less activity. So one is more activity, feminine, and one is less activity, that is the masculine, Shiva and Shakti. So in us, when this is out of balance, one has to sit and find out. Because sometimes girls, females I have seen, they are very strong in the Shiva Tattva, very strong. Femininity is less in them. They will sit like a yogi. They will be calm. They will be composed. They will not be vigilant. They will not be scattered everywhere. They don't have hundreds of friends and hundreds of, you know, dealings and with the world. They are quite reserved because Shakti Tattva, the Shiva Tattva is active in them. Nischalta has come in them. The desire to go outward is lesser. So Shakti is lesser, Shiva Tattva is more. In female. In male, it can be ulta again. Shakti can be more, Shiva can be less. A male can be too much excited and too much outgoing. A female can be settled. Whereas it is ulta. Male should have been having more of Shiva and female should have been having more of Shakti. But it is imbalanced. So, irrespective of genders, what we are seeking here is a perfect balance. When the perfect unison comes in, that we can identify whenever these patterns rise in us, urges rises in us, and the seeking outside, whatever we desire outside, if we sit and become deeply aware of that, you'll be able to see the root causes. Perhaps even if you are deep, it's a different ball game altogether. It's like a whole. I've done 15 days on that inner child. It's not a small thing, going deep into it. But briefly, I'm trying to tell you. There might be a wound, for example, abandonment wound, where you have been abandoned in childhood. Parents of either sex have not been able to take care of you, or one were available, or both were not available, or whatever. That serious abandonment which is there, abandonment means somebody has left me behind. The child is undergoing that trouble. It's an incompletion that has developed during childhood. So there is an energy block there, seeking completion, seeking company, seeking that which was missing in life. And if that is not fulfilled, that keeps on building in teen and adult, and accordingly they keep attracting same kind of people and same kind because the wound is there. The wound that says the fear of abandonment. I'll be abandoned. And they will keep manifesting similar abandoned wounds until they heal the abandonment wound. So this can come by deep contemplation. Everybody is different. There's no general rules. You have to learn to be aware whenever any compulsion is coming, and simply, in a very neutral manner, fully be aware without reacting to it. Just being present to that which are rising inside you, and inquire from where are you coming? What is it that you're seeking? What is it exactly that you're seeking through this outward act? What is it? What is the message that is hidden in you? What are you trying to conceal or reveal? Where is the disturbing factor? What is the root cause? These kind of gentle inquiries in deep awareness can reveal from inside. It might come like a vision, it might come like a thought, it might come like a feeling, it might come suddenly like some memory might come out, you'll start crying. Those are all deep inner work one has to do. So you will get a hint. So if, for example, it is this abandonment wound, and on some activity of life you sit and you're questioning this, why am I behaving this way, or why am I getting hurt, why am I not able to overcome, what is unhealed in me, where this trauma is coming. Sometimes trauma will come, sometimes anger will come. Instead of reacting, you just pay attention to it deeply, allow the anger to come, and you're deeply with your presence inquiring, what is it that is trying to be shown out here. It might not come in one instant, but on multiple practices, it will start revealing. It can be one incident somewhere 20 years down the lane, something you got triggered that is still lying there. Or it might be a back to childhood wound where you were not cared for, or anything that you asked for never answered, never given. That created resentment and anger in you. Or maybe the parent was angry on you all the time, full of anger. So all that you learned, the child learns is anger. That has been suppressed there. It can't release it. As a child, it can't release it back on the parents, right? It's feeling angry, but it can't. So it holds it there. That only becomes the problem in teenager. Chidchida, irritated, adolescent. You're not listening, fully frantic. Parents are trying to understand what, I don't know, we didn't do anything. And why is he so upset? Bottled up. Childhood wounds. And later, teenage, then adult, it remains. So when a seeker is doing this kind of work, suddenly it might go and connect to that anger part of what happened. Do you notice this? Sometimes when elders are there in the house, for no reason, you will be irritated. Maybe parents or elders or something. They have not done anything wrong. They have changed or they are good. But sometimes when you think of someone, when you see someone, even if they are gentle, you are triggered constantly, irritated. That is a childhood wound. Because that adult right now might have changed, but what it was before, the child has stored that in the memory. It is reacting to that now. Or when it sees similar kind of adults, similar kind of traits, what it does not like, if it sees in any relationship, it can start triggering there. Similar patterns, what parents are doing or adults are doing. And to a stranger, it might be demonstrated because somewhere some pattern has been same resembling like that, which can trigger the child to do. So these are very, very deep things. You have to be constantly aware and working on all these things to uproot it. That's called healing. So it's a journey. It cannot happen in 1 or 2 sessions or things like that. In inner child, when I did, I told it is not a 15-day course and you close your book and sit. This has to be used all your life now because you don't know when something will surface and when you're going to use the skill. Constantly, you have to keep doing that. So, slowly, when those wounds are healed, when you look at that child, when you find, when you identify, oh, okay. So, you're seeing one innocent part in you which is so unhealed, which is struggling from inside, you look at that space, you connect to that space, and you heal it with your presence. This can be done only by those who have mastered presence. Do not attempt it otherwise. Those who are able to be in the present, in presence, powerful divinity, purity, they're scanning and expansion, they can feel it very strong, divinity in them, power in them. In that state only, this must be attempted. Otherwise, if you are not in presence, if you are sitting in ego and identity, you look at that child and you will also weep with that child. Partnership. Two egos sitting and crying with each other. You cannot heal. You have to be first present here, and as a very mature presence, you must look at those wounds. Never look at the wounds with your egos, with some identity. Don't say, oh, the poor me. And then you want to think about something and you are feeling like crying. Then you can't do it. I told you two types of crying. One is out of relief and one is out of ego, victimization. If you feel like a victim, then you are not ready to heal yourself. But when you are in presence, you can feel hurt, you can feel wound, you can feel deep pain, you can feel grief, you can feel fear. But one part of you is still in presence. One side of you can feel, and you allow that feeling to come up because you are using the other presence to dissolve it. This is what I taught in level 2 retreats. Same thing. What we did on the final day, if you remember, most of you, 8th and ninth day. The morning we did a healing session. Same thing. With that presence only, you can powerfully dissolve it. So it's a process. It needs your presence, powerful presence. Yeah, there is a inner child course, inner healing, inner child healing it is. It's on shiftingintoawareness.com/course. You'll find it there. Creation has come from nothingness because of desire. How can desire be nothingness? Come for level 2 retreat. We'll demonstrate how it is there. I think you were there only for level 1, right? Level 2, we had explained all these things. In the nothingness, there is everythingness because we feel nothing means nothing is there. When you go to sleep, all the problems are absent, right? Is there any desire at that time? No desire because you're sleeping. But then, because of desire only, you wake up in the morning. That means desires were there in the sleep also. In that nothingness also, their desires were there. So that those desires which lie in the unconscious is known as the black space, shunya. In the shunya, it looks shunya, not shunya, it is there. Only thing, there is no light to illuminate it. You shut the light in this room, everything will go black. Does that mean there are no objects in this room? There are. When you on the light, you can see it. That light awning is that awareness. When awareness starts, creation starts. Do you see that? Jyoti Swarupa, first light. Because of the light only it illuminates. And that which was there in it, it starts sprouting out. Anyways, these are all again deep talks. Let's become aware of today's session. Let's become aware of the light in us, the presence in us. Let me remind you, inner guru is there in us. The one that acknowledges the wisdom in other is the inner guru. Catch that. Don't say, I don't know anything, I'm listening from somebody. And no, you're agreeing with somebody means you know it. You're listening to 2 hour session. You're not listening to get wisdom. You are in the process of remembering the wisdom. So when somebody says it, you are agreeing and you say, wow, that's a point. You feel that, yes, that's it. That's right. What you're saying is right. So you know it already. You're conforming to a wisdom coming from. Cast that knowingness from inside, which knows the wisdom already. That is the inner guru. that we did in yesterday's webinar. Anyways, those who want to take that webinar is still there. In depth, you can do it. Depth, you can do it. The follow-up session was powerful. It is there till 24th Jan. You can sign up and take it. On events page, it's there. Recording will be sent to you. So become aware of the knowingness within you, that which knows about the wisdom, that which is remembering the wisdom by outside stimulation. Outside stimuli is making you remember. Outside voice, outside teachings is making you agree from inside. If you connect to that, is your inner guru, the knower. It knows everything. But due to ignorance, that knowing is not fully opened up. Connect to that knowing, knower in me. Connect to the wisdom within us.